Now, real love. Now, this kind of love is emotional, not obsessional.
Oh, okay.
It is a love that not reunites, but unites reason and emotion. It involves an act of the will and requires discipline.
Yes.
And it recognizes the need for personal growth.
And then that means, again, as we keep saying, you've got to learn something different. Because I dare say, before we came across this, I had never heard it put that way. And that gave me a different thought process, because my thought process was in the same vein as all of the other people who weren't being successful at it.
Because it says that it's not our most basic emotional need is not to fall in love, but to be genuinely loved by another.
Oh, that's a whole different thing. If you look at your relationship right now, you want to fall in love, but I can guarantee you, being loved is more exciting than falling in love.
Yes.
If you look at a child, they love you, but I can guarantee you what's more important to them is that you show them love. And guess what? I think we were all children one time.
Once upon a time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I was born grown. No, I'm just...
Came out with a mustache.
I'm just joking.
Hey, mama.
Funny how you do.
What's up, Doc? Okay.
Don't you slap me. I'm just funny.
But the thing about it is that we want to know a love that grows out of reason and choice and not just instinct, because that in love experience is purely instinctual.
Right.
It's just, you're just going on your natural, innate,
harmonious
hormones. There you go. But to develop real love, it takes reason and emotion. I'm developing a feeling for you through reasoning that I want to be with you.
It begins to intellectualize it.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because now you have a real understanding and a real assurance that this thing is real.
Yeah.
So through reason, the intellect lets us know that what we're doing is actually real. And listen, you're going to need that real feeling. You're going to need that real assurance. Now, that real assurance that that relationship is for real. Because when the challenges come in your life, trust me, that instinctual emotion is not going to be the thing that holds you together to get through those storms in your life. You know, the awesome things about storms is that they don't last.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if we had a storm that was just perpetual and never ended?
Continuous.
You would just give up.
Yeah.
But we know that I don't care how bad this storm is, eventually,
This too.
even those countries that have the rainy season, they know eventually there's going to be some sunshine somewhere. So now you've got enough hope in what's to come to press through the challenge that you have. So when you can move in a reasoned love, meaning that I have decided to do what it takes to give you an environment where love can exist, then when the storms come along, you know that, hey, we've got a strong enough foundation that we can survive through this.
Okay. Talk about during this real love development, that what we really want is for someone to love me who chooses to love me, who sees something of worth in me, worth loving.
And do you know, you can feel that. Even when you can't put that into words, you can feel that. And that's especially true for men, because sometimes we're not always the best at expressing how we feel or expressing how we would like for you to show us the emotion that you feel for us. Now, all that sounded a little interesting, but that's sort of how we feel. So men, again, are heavily in tuned to any kind of clues from their wife that says that, oh, this is not real, or I'm doing this to placate you, or, you know, hey, this is my favor to you. And usually a man will say, look, hey, don't do me any favors. You know, you're supposed to love me for real. And so it really goes back to that old adage that we learned a long time ago that says, what comes from the heart reaches the heart, even if you can't explain it. And you can see that same thing with children. You've seen children who've been in families where they really didn't experience love, and there was something that wasn't right with the child. Even they knew something was wrong, and they couldn't articulate what that was. But when you love that child and you give them a real love, when you show them real affection, when you show them attention, you can see that there's a difference in that child, because what comes from the heart again reaches the heart. So in a relationship, the same thing is true.
And the difference from being in the in-love experience and then this real love that we're talking about is this one, the real love, requires effort and discipline. You know, it is a choice to expend energy to do things that are beneficial to another person. You know, we have to choose to do all of those things. You know, when we and here, you know, I was amazed when I read this. It says that true love cannot begin until the in-love experience has run its course.
Isn't that something?
That is something. So you can't take credit for all those kind and generous things you did while you were under the influence of the obsession.
Until you feel like you don't want to see it.
Exactly.
When you get that feeling, and trust me, you will get the feeling that you don't want to say it. You know, I don't care how great your job is. There are days when you feel like you don't want to go.
If I could just stay at the house.
Yeah, you don't like nobody there. You don't like your boss, the secretary, the rug, the door, or the street.
You don't like the shape of your cubicle.
None of it.
Something.
None of it. And then the next day, hey, you can't wait to get to work. So you don't let that get in the way and say, oh, I'm not committed to what I do just because I've had that emotion. But when you have that emotion, then you'll know, okay, now here is where I begin to make a decision to move toward, again, doing those things that will allow a real love to exist in the relationship.
And when we think about things like this, you know, if your marriage was a book, then the in-love experience would just be the introduction.
Right.
You haven't yet written one chapter. That is just the introduction. It's the kind of love that's intentional. And see, that's the love that you want to fill up the rest of your book.
Oh, and he talks about, here Gary talks about filling up that love tank. We have another author that talks about the love bank.
Right.
But both of it is about depositing something and potentially the withdrawal of something. And that's those experiences that will make us feel loved, and that's where we have to make a conscious commitment to really do two things. Number one, we've got to have a commitment, Sybil, to find out what that is for you. I've got to find out what that means for my spouse, not just focused on what it means to me. What it means to me is I get to do everything that I can to create an environment, because I can't make her happy. You follow me? I can't make her feel loved. My goal is to do everything that I can to create an environment that is truly conducive for love, as she sees it, to flourish.
Right.
And that means I've got to learn some things that I don't know, but I've got to ask her exactly, hey, what is that? And then be willing to do that. I just can't say, again, I don't like to do it.
Right.
You know, it really doesn't matter that you don't like to do it, as long as they're not asking you something that's going to violate a moral law that you live by.
Right.
You know, she wants you, as he talks about, she wants you to vacuum. Look, woman, I don't like vacuuming. My mama made me vacuum, and I swore if I ever got married, I would never even look at Hoover.
Right.
Eureka, or any other
Or
Eka.
that Dyson thing.
Or a Dyson slicer. I'm not going to look at it. But if you've got a woman, man, and if vacuuming makes her feel all giddy and excited because you've taken the time, man, I tell you, get one in both hands.
But, you know, that kind of love requires a change in attitude, you know, a change in the way that you think. And he has this phrase here. Love is the attitude that says, I'm married to you and I choose to look out for your interest. And so we are to basically, you know, you married them for a reason. You know, so we're there to look out for their interests. But then some people will say, well, that sounds so sterile. We're the shooting stars. We're the balloons that go up in the air and the wafting clouds that go through the scene. You know, when you're in love, those are all the things. You know, there's shooting stars, there are fireworks, there's this and there's that.
There's the platters.
What about that electricity of that kiss? You know, what about all that?